as she says, you find these same zones of silence there. Things are so natural. So we have to contest that. It demands, mostly, if I go to the bottom line, as the Americans like to say, to eliminate harmful practices, whether they are traditional or they are new, essentially demands that you overturn the patriarchal gender regime that is installed at the local level. It is at the local level that this is being exercised, and that we question the norm systems and structures. Why it is such a big issue, I said there's only 3 truths. There are only 3 facts that every society has to deal with. One is the fact, and this is regardless of your system, your religion, your anything else. The fact of birth, the fact of death, and the fact that there are at least 2 sexes. Therefore, every society defines for themselves gender rules. What is permissible and what is impermissible, what is acceptable, what is unacceptable for men, for women, for boys, for girls. That is where these things become ingrained. It becomes a part of us, who we are, and how it's reflected. That needs to be challenged. But very often women do not challenge this. They do not challenge it because they are said to be betraying their cultural community. They also fear being ostracized from their own families, from their communities, and this becomes an even greater problem and challenge when the state does not provide the support and systems and access to rights that they need to do. So you have this situation where I think you need to ensure that everyone is informed about their rights. You have to ensure that the states provide all opportunities and listen to all the different voices within a community. And this is a large part, the ensuring rights is the responsibility of the state. Let me underline that it is the responsibility of the state to ensure human rights for all. We can contribute, we can help, but that is their responsibility. You have to introduce a new dialogue within communities so that they can move towards human rights in their own understanding of what's happening. So while we need to ensure that you guard against imposing outsiders' ideologies from taking over the community, at the same time you need to shield, we need to not shield from criticism community practices and norms that are against human rights and human dignity. So this requires an internal discussion to take place. This is what I have called, and we can discuss this at greater length, the vernacularization of human rights. Human rights are not enjoyed in a vacuum. They always take place within specific socio-cultural, political, economic environments. And it is those environments that have to accept human rights as the standard against which we need to move forward. So some of the questions that need to be asked when people say this is our culture and this is our custom is, I suggest, whose power is preserved through the use of these supposedly cultural norms? Who is challenging the practice and the norm? Is it an outsider? Is it an insider? Is it the oppressed or the marginalized? And what are the claimed harmful outcomes of the practice and norm, and the implications for ceasing to have them? And is the label of culture being deployed to stifle a desirable and necessary political debate, which it seems happens quite frequently? I feel that if you demand cultural rights on a basis of equality between men and women, we will go a long way towards empowering women. Cultural rights, I think, are empowering and they're transformative. And being transformative, they move forward CEDAW's agenda of not just having equality across the genders in terms of current situations, but moving towards a society which is more just. So I will stop there and wait for your questions.
Thank you very, very much. I got a preview of that lecture from my own wife, who told me, why are we not dealing with anorexia and the pressures on teenagers in our society? So I wondered, I got the whole thing now, but I got a kind of preview a few nights ago. So yes, we have to look at our own societies and how we, what we allow and what we are forcing young women to do.